All right, let's get right into it. This one sentence, this is really the whole thing right here. And we're going to take it apart piece by piece, because this isn't just some nice-sounding quote. It's a blueprint. It describes a system that explains why some of the most brilliant, most capable people you know, well, they slowly come apart at the seams under pressure.
So, if you've ever felt that relentless pull to control everything, you have to understand something right now. It's not a flaw in your character. It's not a personal failing. It's a pattern, a really predictable pattern that shows up over and over again in any high-pressure environment. Let's actually look at a few examples.
Okay, think about an ER coordinator. Their entire world is managing chaos, right? But the moment they try to control everything, every patient walking through the door, every doctor's schedule, that very attempt to wrestle the unpredictable into submission, it just ends up cranking their own internal stress through the roof. Or how about the startup founder? You know the type. Micromanaging every single detail, every line of code, every email. And we praise this, right? We call it passion or hustle. But if you look at the system, what's really happening? Their focus gets shattered, their team feels suffocated, and their leadership, it just gets weaker and weaker. Now take it to an even higher stakes environment. A military officer in, say, asymmetric warfare. They are literally trained for command and control, but they're dropped into a world where total control is a complete illusion. That gap, that friction between their training and the reality on the ground is just immense. And it's not just in these extreme jobs. It happens every day in the corporate world. You see it in the project manager who's desperately trying to keep every single stakeholder happy. They end up in this state of, well, constant low-grade panic, just reacting to emails, putting out fires, but leading absolutely nothing. It's the same force everywhere.
Okay, so we've seen the pattern. It's everywhere. But why? Why does this happen? To understand that, we have to look deeper at the system itself. There are basically 3 friction points, 3 invisible mechanics that are running under the surface.
And they are first, something called control inflation, second, internal friction, and third, this really key idea of resource reallocation.
Let's start with control inflation. This is a big one. It's what happens when your brain takes ownership of things you have absolutely no power over. Things like what other people think, how the market's going to move, or just random chance. And when that happens, your brain, it starts assigning mental energy to trap all of it. Your focus just gets shredded into a million pieces.
And here's the real trap. On the outside, we see this as a good thing, right? We call it being diligent, being a responsible leader. But from the perspective of your own cognitive system, it's just a terrible waste of resources, a complete misallocation of your most valuable and most limited asset, your energy and attention.
Okay, the second point is internal friction. This is literally the energy you burn just by fighting reality. When you're up against something you can't control, your mind can get stuck in this endless loop. Replaying conversations, planning for scenarios that will never happen. It's all happening internally, with zero effect on the outside world. It is exactly like flooring the gas pedal with the car in neutral. All noise, all heat, no movement.
And our culture loves this, doesn't it? We praise it as grit or persistence. We say never give up. But in the cold, hard physics of stress, it's just a negative feedback loop. You're pouring out massive amounts of energy and getting absolutely zero leverage on the problem. And this is the key takeaway. At that point, you're not fighting the problem anymore. You're just fighting yourself. So, what's the cost of getting this wrong? Well, it isn't free. And it's not some big, dramatic explosion. It's much quieter than that. It's a slow, steady erosion of your ability to think, to function, to even recover. And you can actually see this happen. Your decision-making gets worn down way faster during the day. Complex problems, they suddenly feel impossible to get your head around because your working memory is shot. Your body is just marinating in stress hormones, so you never really recover. And slowly, without even realizing it, you go from being the person who solves problems to the person who's just scanning the horizon for the next threat. And listen, this is maybe the most important thing to get. Burnout, it's not a sudden snap. It's the final logical destination. It's what happens after a long period of misinterpreting the data, of consistently ignoring or misreading the signals your own body and mind are sending you. So, is there a way out of this? Yeah, there is. But it's not another productivity hack or some 5-step checklist. The edge, the real advantage, comes from a complete shift in your mental model. It's about developing what we call the reallocation mindset.
Now, I need to be really clear about this. When I say let go of control, most people hear give up or stop caring. It is not that at all. This isn't apathy, it's strategy. It's the conscious, deliberate decision to move your limited resources away from fights you were never going to win anyway.
Think of acceptance in a new way. It's not a passive, soft thing. It's an active, tactical move. It's you intelligently pulling your mental energy out of unwinnable situations. And the goal here isn't even to feel better. The goal is to get your processing power back online so you can point it at the things that you can actually change.
And when you make this shift, the benefits are very real. You start thinking more clearly, especially when things are chaotic. You recover from setbacks way faster. And maybe the biggest win of all, your focus becomes laser sharp. You can finally see the one or two things that really matter, the things that will actually move the needle.
All right, to bring this all home, we're going to finish by turning this whole analysis on you. And look, the point here isn't to find some simple solution. It's to start asking yourself some much harder, much more honest questions.
First question, what are you gripping too tightly? What outcome, what person's opinion, what deadline are you holding on to with a white-knuckle grip? Second, what are you fighting? I mean, what unchangeable fact of your situation are you just pouring energy into resisting?
And last, what could you accept? What thing that you're currently treating as a problem to be solved is actually just the terrain you have to navigate?